It's a nice lecture, and it's very important lecture about event-driven programming. How to respond to events. All along, we were using, by the way, procedural programming. And you learned C++ or Python. And now we're going to shift to a new thing called event-driven programming. Yani we do something when an event happens. If it doesn't happen, we don't do it. Okay? ماشي الحال؟ طيب. Before I start, let me explain some of the things we learned today. Let me show them to you first. Okay? Let me show them to you first. And then we can predict what's gonna happen. This is a simple class here. Let me just run it. See what happens يا شباب. If you click OK. لحظة شوي. Let me أرجع الكود زي ما كان في البداية. Okay. Run. If you click OK, some messages output here, right? If you click cancel, you get a different message. So what happens? When you do a mouse click, something happens. If you don't do it, nothing happens. You agree? If you make a mouse click, something happens. If you don't, nothing happens. Right. Let me show another thing here. Now it's not a mouse click. It's a keyboard press. See the letter A? If I press right, here I'm working with the arrows. Working with the arrows here. See? Moving it up and down. If I press up, it goes up. Down, down, left, left, right, right. So these are keyboard events. And I handle them by moving the text. I am handling them by moving the text. Let me show you now a mouse click. Look at this now. Now I can drag it to somewhere. See? By dragging it. You believe that I'm dragging. Good. Let me show you another one. I want you to see what we are going to do today before we start doing it. See now, if I click enlarge, the circle grows. If I click shrink, the circle grows. Shrinks. This is not the only thing. If I click the mouse, the circle grows. If I right-click the mouse, the circle shrinks. So click will do enlarge. Right-click will do shrink. Clicking the button will do enlarge. Click the shrink button will do shrink. مش بس هيك. Not only this. If I press the up arrow, ليش مش شغال يا رجل؟ حرام عليك. If I press the up arrow, مش عارف بجوز واحد تاني مثال تاني. If I press the up arrow, the circle will grow. If I press the down arrow, maybe you can do it ourselves. Okay? So what you saw now, let me show you another simpler thing here. This is a BMI calculator. You all في معلوم BMI صح? I enter the height. I enter the weight. Okay? I now can click calculate. Your height is what? Calculate. I calculate the BMI. I change the values. Okay? I change the values and click. Let me show you a calculator here now. Look at this. I wanted you to see everything before we start. We have number 1 and number 2. Subtract, multiply, add, divide, multiply. You do different things based on which button you click. This is called event-driven programming. Is it enough? Huh? Or see the bouncing point control? Look at this example. Nice one. See, the ball is moving. If I press the up arrow, it will be moving faster. Is it faster? Is it yes or no? If I press the down arrow now, I'm pressing the down arrow, it will be moving slower. Is it slower? Good. Does that make sense now? Okay. طيب. في شيء ضل تاني. This is another example. Let me run it. Right, left, down, up. I'm not sure if this one is going to work with the keyboard. We can change it at the end. I can change you all a good exercise for you. I can ask you to change this. Instead of mouse clicks, when you press the keyboard, left, right, up, and down. Right. So now we go back to event-driven programming. Motivation. What's the why event-driven programming is nice? Because GUIs especially GUIs, you want sometimes things to happen when you do a click or move. If you don't click, move, or press, nothing should happen. صح ولا لا, right? مظبوط. This is called event-driven programming. Some event will happen. What is that event? It could be clicking a button, checking a checkbox, unchecking a checkbox, dragging something, clicking the mouse, right-clicking the mouse, pressing a keyboard. Only the handling the event code will be executed. So all along so far, you have been learning what? Procedural programming. Procedural programming, ya shabab. The things you know. Today you're going to learn event-driven programming. Code is executed only when you activate an event. And by the way, and I showed you events like keyboard event, mouse event, tamam? The other events like action events or change events or so many events, we cannot cover them all. Before I start talking about the code, I don't want you to be confused with the code complexity in the end. I don't want you to be confused with the code complexity in the beginning, sorry. Because at the end, I will show you the same code in one line. Yes. If you don't understand the concept, the code is useless. It's all about the concept. There are 3 different ways to do the same code. The last form is going to be very simple. But if you don't know the concept I'm explaining now, it's not going to be simple. Good? So now, look at this example. The first example. You click OK, you see OK. You click cancel, you see cancel. خلينا نقول يمكن لا تكونوا نسيتوا هاي. OK, cancel. OK, OK, OK. طيب. So what happens now? When I run this program, someone is listening to any event fired from the OK button. Someone is listening to any event fired by the cancel button. When you click cancel, things happen. If you don't click it, things do not happen. If you click OK, things happen. If you don't click it, nothing happens. Someone is listening to every click. If no one is listening, nothing is going to happen. Yani in our code, there is someone listening to every time you click the button, and it will process or handle the event. It can handle the event in its own way. Good. Now, how things happen and what are the events? Let us first, before we know the code, let us see the concept. The source of the event, what is the source of the event? In the example I explained now, it was the button. When you click the button, an action event. Event has many subtypes. One of them is the action event. There are mouse events. There are key events. So when you click a button, the button fires an object of an event object. طيب, who receives this event object? The listener. The listener or the handler. The listener object contains a method for processing the event. يعني, when you click the button fires an event. The handler or the listener is listening to the button. Whatever made by the button, it's waiting. If the button fires an action event, the handler will process it. We can call the handler a listener because it's listening to the event and handling the event object. Handling the event object is doing something like moving a text or calculating some results or hiding or enlarging or changing or removing something from a list. This is handling an event. Handling an event depends on the example, what type of the event, if it's a mouse event, keyboard event, action event. So we have a source and we have an event and we have a handler. Look at this code carefully, Shabab. Carefully, very carefully, please. Everything in this today's class in the next 2 slides. The way how to do it changes, but the concept is the next 2 slides. Here in this example, I have an inner class. What is the inner class called? Okay, handler class. Implements event handler. We have an interface in Java called event handler. If you want to be able to listen to any event, you must implement it. How to implement it? Very, very simple. It has one method called what? Handle. In the handle, you do something. What is the handle method will receive? It will receive an object, event object. طبعا, it could be a mouse event. It could be a key event. It could be an action event, depending on what type of event you are listening to. If you are listening to a key event, you will not respond to the mouse event. If you are listening to a mouse event, you are not actually processing key events or action events. Now, in the first 2 examples, the handler will be an inner class. Later, we'll see simpler way. But now, how things happen, let us see this. OK handler class, new OK handler class. Now, the button, this button now, how to link it to the handler is one line. This is how to link it to the handler. btn OK set on action. شو يعني set on action? If someone clicks you, fire the event, which is an action event, and send it to the handler 1 object. Handler 1 knows what to do with, what to do, because handler 1 has a method called handle. It will do something. So here, of course, the handler must implement handler interface. شو يعني implement handler event handler interface? You must implement a handle method. بس. طيب. So now btn OK set on action handler 1. So when someone clicks you, which is an action in Java, and fires an event type action event, handler 1 is response to that. So please, btn OK, if someone clicks you, when you fire an action event, the handler is listening to you. So the event will reach the handler will do something here in the handle method. In the code here, we don't have there is another handler for the cancel button. Cancel handler class, new cancel handler, but we don't see it here in the slides. btn cancel set on action handler 2. So there is another inner class that listens to the btn cancel, and when the btn cancel is clicked, it fires the action event, and the handle method of the cancel handler class responds to that. So now here, click OK, the button clicked will be working. Why and how? We will see this. Now let me show you the full code now here in the handle object. Look at it. Look at it. قاعد المولى a few minutes, you will see all these things. Look at it يا شباب now. OK class handler, new OK class handler, set on action handler 1. شو يعني? This is the class. OK handler. Two inner classes I have now. Cancel handler and OK handler. They all have the same thing. Event handler is an interface يا صديقي. Action event, what type of event is expected? Is it a mouse event? Is it a key event? Is it an action event? These are the three events that we are expecting. This is how you declare it, okay? تمام? So this is a subtype of event. So now when you click the OK, the action event is passed to the OK handler and processed by the handle. When you click cancel, the action event will be passed to the cancel handler, and this one the handle will respond. Let us run this now. So when you click OK, why when you click OK the handle works? Because set on action. Without it, nothing is gonna work. Why cancel button clicked works? Because you have cancel button set on action. طحانوا هاي انسوا الموضوع هلا، هتخليكم معي في الامبورتنت، والله لو هداك امبورتنت لعملكم عليه حلقة كاملة. ها اوكي. This is how programming in Java. خلينا هلا في الكونسبت اللي احنا فيه. اوكي ماشي الحال. هلا if you don't handle it, شوفوا now cancel btn cancel. I commented this, so no one is listening to the cancel button. ما راح يصير شيء. Nothing is gonna happen if you click the cancel button. See, nothing's gonna happen. No one is listening. No handler is listening to that. Okay, still working, but cancel is not working. So now I can make this, and as you see here, it was an inner class that implements which interface? The event handler interface. The event handler interface expects some type of event. تمام? It could be what? It could be key event, mouse event, or action event. Let's go back to the slides. An event can be defined as a type of signal that triggers something or tells the program that something has happened. Usually the event is generated by the external user actions such as mouse movements, mouse clicks, or keystrokes. These are all events. Look at the events now. We are expecting three main types of events. All of them are subtype of the event class. Action event, input event. We don't usually use the input event. We use one of its subclasses, either mouse event or key event. And there are window events. What are the window events? When you minimize, enlarge, close window, all these things. So three major events: action event, mouse event, and key event. We will see them. That's one good thing. Before we see all them, you can also ask the event many questions. يعني, if it's a mouse event, by the way, you can ask it which button was clicked on the mouse. Is it the left or the right? طيب, what is the coordinate of the click? What is the x coordinate of your click? What is the y coordinate of the click? If it's a keyboard event, you can ask it which key is pressed. Is it up, down, right, left, function 1, function 2? Which key is pressed? You can ask the event many things. والevent راح يقول لك كل شيء about the source. You can ask the event, what is your source? Which object fired you? What is your whatever? What is the button? What is the mouse coordinates? It depends on the type of the event. Again, here we have types of events. هلا before I go to these types, let me go and try to add something new here. I'll add a third way here. شوفوا, a new anonymous class, inner class. خليني افرجيكم شو بدي اعمل اول. I'm gonna add a checkbox here. You know the checkbox, right? Checkbox CB1 equals new checkbox. Yep. And I'll call it check me. تمام? This is a checkbox. Now I want, if you check the checkbox, I want something else to happen. Well, okay, let me add the checkbox to the panel now. CB1. بس بساطة هيو. I created a third thing here. I will call it checkbox handler. طيب عشان الوقت بس I'll call it CB handler. By the way, it's gonna get an action event to handle it. Here, okay, I'll type checked. يعني if the checkbox fires an action event, it will send the action event to the CB handler. Of course, the handle method is going to work. Now let us create an instance of the CB handler. We will simplify all these things in a minute. CBH, I'll call it a new CBH. أنا مش عم بجاوب على قاعد المولى questions لأنه all these code types will see changes now. Now, how to link the handler to the control? CB1 dot set on action CBH بس خلاص. Now if someone clicks the CB1 checkbox, it will see what is here in the handle method of the CB handler. Let us run this, and I added the checkbox يا شباب. Huh? See, checked, unchecked. طبعا of course you can ask it, is it checked or unchecked? Is it checked or selected or unselected if it's a radio button? You can ask many questions, but now I showed you how I create third inner class and how I created the control, and now I'm listening to the action button. Now let's go back to the types of things. You can ask the event some information. Let me show you here in the first one, which is a good way. sysout e.get source. مين اللي بعتك؟ which who? okay, خلينا نشوف كمان واحدة. sysout. طبعا depending on the event type, which questions to ask, get event type. So here, this is the OK button, يا شباب. The OK button. If I click it, بيقول لي button this one اللي هو التايتل تبعه OK. I am action event. You see, I can ask the event many questions. By the way, it depends on what is the event type. If it's a mouse event, you can ask it which, what is the coordinates? Is it left button, right button? If it's a keyboard event, you can ask it which key. We'll see all these examples. ماشي الحال. Now let me remove these things and go back to the slides. هلا, which type of events? What are the events? يلا, let's enjoy looking at this slides. There are so many events. These are the major things. See, I will categorize them into 3 types. You know them, يعني. We have action events. We have mouse events and key events. Type action events. When do they happen? If you have a button and someone clicks on the button fires an action event. How to listen to the action event? Set on action. You call the event handler. بس. طيب, if you have a text field and someone presses enter, yes, the text field can fire an action event. How to call it? Set on action event handler. If you have a radio button or checkbox, you check it or uncheck it, it will fire an action event. How you call it again? Set on action. Combo box يا شباب. Combo is the drop down list. يعني when you have a list you select one. If you select a new item or something, this is an action event. How to listen to this event? By calling set on action. طيب, action event, only one method. And these are the objects that can fire action event. What about mouse events? Well, mouse events can be fired by anything, all nodes. If you recall from the previous class, what is the node? What are the subclasses of node? Almost everything. What mouse events you can listen to? Mouse pressed, mouse released. Is it the same method? No. If the mouse pressed event is you are interested in it, you call which method? Set on mouse pressed. If you are interested in mouse released, set on mouse released. What else? Oh, mouse clicked, mouse entered, mouse exited, mouse moved, mouse dragged. You know, drag when you keep when you press the mouse button and you move something. So this is mouse dragged, mouse entered, mouse exited. ماشي الحال. Mouse moved. Does that make sense? These are all events if you are, and you can apply them to any node. What about key events? Okay. Also any node. Set on key pressed if you want to listen to key press. Set on key released or key type. You know, press is when you press before releasing. Release when you release. Type is when you make a full press release. Type. How they all work? You have an event source. What is my event source? It could be a button, it could be a checkbox, it could be a list, it could be a panel, it could be whatever. If whatever node or control that can fire an event. You register the event listener. It could be a mouse listener, it could be mouse event listener, it could be a key event listener, it could be an action event listener. That listener implements one method, which is the handle method. This T, Gadallah, extends event. T is a type of an event or subtype. يعني it's event or if it's any one of their subtypes. تمام? This is one way of generic programming in Java. مش راح تلحقوا في السمستر هذا. Okay? So now if you have a button, the button can fire an action event. How to register to listen to the events of the button? Set on action. And your listener will listen. Your listener will be someone who implements the event handler. So when you click the button, the event will go to the listener. The listener will process the event in the handle method. Now, the button OK. How we did set the handler? OK handler class, new OK handler class. Then set on action handler. Handler implements what? Implements the event handler interface. And to implement it, you must have a handle method. And what type of event you are expecting from the button? I am expecting an action event. If you are expecting a mouse event, you make it a mouse event. So we go back here. تمام? If no one is listening, ما راح يصير شيء. If is listening, nothing is gonna happen. If someone is listening, everything can happen. ماشي الحال. يعني if you don't want to listen, no, don't listen. Now how I implemented this code يا شباب? I did this code by using inner classes. The remaining minutes are very important. How I implemented this code? I implemented it with inner classes, 3 inner classes. Inner classes are very good in this case simply because they can access, they are not needed for any other reason. Only to handle event. It's not needed outside the class. in this case it's the best way. يعني أنا I remember بس يعني هذا الحكي مش صحيح. بعد 10 minutes I'll show you different things. They can access all the panels, all the controls of the outer class. Things are easier. تمام? Of course you know inner outer class يعني. If you don't know, this is a quick reminder that inner class exists inside another class. The good thing about inner class, it has access or it can reach all the methods and attributes of the outer class. So to make a long story short, inner classes are good in this example. They don't have to be to worry about scope and all these things. But this is not the only case because there is another way to do it. They call it anonymous inner class. يعني بيقول لك طالما an inner class is not needed outside, no need even to make a class. Make a class without a name. Anonymous inner class. How anonymous inner class is made? Okay, very simple. هو you don't like the code. I know you're not gonna like the code. But remember I did it أنا using Notepad 23 years ago. And يعني I did it with Notepad أنا, okay? However, anonymous class is a class without a name. But to allow you to create an instance of anonymous class, the class must implement either an abstract interface or abstract class or an interface. يعني it must be either a subtype of something, either an interface or a class. هلا, to make a long story short, let me show you how you can do this with anonymous class without a name. Very simple والله يا شباب. هي شوفوا ركزوا معي. Very simple. You don't like the code in the beginning. بعد هيك but you gonna understand it. See this class public. أنا ما بدي إياها كلها. I'll take this code. See where I took the code from? From event. All the code. Control X. I removed this. طيب. Now our handler is not there. طيب. No need to create it as an inner class. Tell it new something. add here, add only parentheses. بس خلاص. شو يعني؟ يعني on action a new event handler that has no name. No need for a name because we are using it only here in these lines. تمام. Handle it. خلاص بس. هاي هي. This one is called now anonymous class. Is it gonna work? Yes, inshallah, go work. Check me. Same thing. But without creating like class handler, if you want, I can do the remaining things using anonymous class, Control X, remove this, go to the set on action, a new, just type a new without a name, a new subtype of any event handler, add this here, وخلاص. That's it. Is it gonna work really? Yes, it's gonna work. Okay. Same thing يا شباب. Does that make sense? خلينا نرجع الكود زي ما كان بس. Okay. So I kept one anonymous here. خلينا أفرجيكم here. Anonymous handling here. See now. You remember this code, I believe. Left, right, down, up. All of them are what? Anonymous class. Okay. Ahmed Abdo, in 1 minute I'll answer you. Here, when you click up, you remember what happens here. يا شباب, and I said many times, please do not focus on the code complexity. خليكم معي في الconcept now. Okay? Left, up, you know what's happening now. We move the X right and left and okay, good. So now, I could have created 4 inner classes, but here what happened? 4 anonymous classes were created. 4 anonymous classes were created. See what they do. They do text get Y. They add 5 or it depends if you move it left, right. يعني they change the X coordinate of the text. هاي التكست اللي هو الكلام اللي وينه. This is the text. Programming is fun. Text. like a label, but we do it without a here. You will move it left, right, up, down. For anonymous classes, what do? You change the X value or Y value depending if you move it horizontally or vertically. This is anonymous class here. Okay? A new event handler, all of them. It's exactly the same code يا شباب. The same thing I did here with the event handler. لما أخذت المين؟ أخذت checkbox handler, I put it here. I still can take this, use a new. Let me go to the code now here. This is the anonymous class. Look at the things now here. It used to be something like this. Class handler, whatever. Now, from here, you can take it and put it in the set action. Use new because you are creating a new event handler without a name now. You also need to use the parentheses here. بس خلاص. And you put them inside that thing. This is called anonymous. هلا no need for this anonymous class. No need for inner class most of the times. Let us see the best way to do this code using something new in Java called Lambda Expression. But Anna, what I wanted you to see first, I wanted you to understand the concept. What is the event type, what is handle, all these things. Otherwise, you will never understand the things that are here. Now, Lambda Expression is a very new way of making or simplifying your what? Your life. They make things easier and shorter. Lambda Expression is a new version of Java 8. طيب يعني before Java 8, it was not there. Lambda expressions can be viewed as anonymous method with a concise syntax. يعني سيناريو مختصر جدا مناسب جدا لجيلكم. For your generation, this is perfect. تمام؟ For example, the following code in A can be greatly simplified using the Lambda expression in B. All this code يا شباب, a new event handler, whatever, بس هاي you just take this E بس. طبعا the processing is the same. بس خلاص. E and arrow. That's it. شو يعني؟ طيب خليني اقول لك شو يعني. And why it's possible. When we say set on action, we are expecting what? We're expecting an event handler. خلاص, we know that. No need to write it. طيب, if you are expecting an event handler, what is the argument or the parameter you are waiting for? It's going to be an action event, definitely, because set on action. So we know that. خلاص, no need to write. طيب, in the action event, what is the method that you need? You have one or more method. Well, I have one method. What is that method handle? All of them will be handled. Yes, no need to write it. So we reduce all of these things to the, even no need to tell us about the event type. That is action event, because we know that it's an action event. So action event arrow, do whatever you want. وخلاص. بس والله. Huh? Now I'll show you that. Huh? If you believe or don't believe, this is your problem. موضوع تاني. I'll go to this one, the one I add inner classes to. شو؟ شوفوا كل هالحكي. I'll just say E. Oh, since it's one line, no need for anything. Oh, life is good. والله خلاص. شفتوا؟ Run. Check me. بس. طب بس يعني هو كيف هالحكي؟ اوه ما هو set on action. اوكي؟ وين عملناها احنا؟ here. Set on action. Expecting an action event handler already. والevent handler expecting an action event. والاction event has a handle method. خلاص احنا بلشنا من الhandle method internal. So the action event do this وخلاص بس. has nothing to do with the type of the event, يا عيسى. Has nothing to do with the type of the event. Can be done with any event. This is the syntax of handling event. Okay? وصلت الفكرة؟ طب خليني let me show you some examples. شوفوا كيف. Okay? Set on action. يعني في البداية in the beginning you can say it's an action event. Curly braces. Do this. Yeah, it's gonna work. Okay? Then they said خلاص we know it's an action event. Just make it E. In the next one they say okay we know E. Curly braces are there. If it's one statement يا شباب, if it's one statement no need even for curly braces. ها شفتوا وين وطلعنا من احنا طلعنا من anonymous inner class to this one action event. بعدين قلنا it's already an action event. بعدين قلنا no need for the parentheses. بعدين قلنا no need for the curly braces since it's one thing. Does that make sense يا شباب? Amigos, does that make sense? Lambda expression. Okay. Now I can show you.
ازاي حيعرف فوق ولا تحت مثلا يعني؟
ايش؟
ازاي حيعرف فوق ولا تحت مثلا السيركل او اي حاجه؟
هذا موضوع تاني. How to move. How to move صح؟
اوكي.
Okay. How to move the x coordinate, change the x coordinate or the y coordinate بس. Let's go and see the first one. Let's go and see the first example. Keyboard event يا صديقي. ها ايوه خلصنا. Look at it. I'll keep both the code and the look at the what event you are listening يا باشا اللي سألني. What event you are in line 16. In line 16 what event you are waiting for? Key pressed. So this is a key event صح? Look at line 17. You can ask the key event. You can ask the key event about معلش, I got an important message. You can ask a key event about the key code. ايش يعني key code? It will tell you what key was pressed. ها ايوه ايه ايوه you see key code. No. This is key code, the key itself in the keyboard, which key is pressed يا يمان. راحت عليك الايه خلاص, حتى بي مش راح اعطيك. اوكي تمام. It's not necessarily يعني now maybe constant or static constant. okay تمام. Which key خلاص بس هيو. So I'll go back to the code here. I'll go back to the code. See, text set on key pressed, case down, case up, case left, case right. هدول كلهم keys. طب what to do if case switch key code? You know that switch key code, right? So you know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. Does that make sense? See now, I press the right key. I press the down key. Why it moves? Because I'm listening to the key pressed. If it's up, I set the Y up. I set down. I think someone asked me about how to know which key or move it right. I'm now answering your code. صح ولا لا? I'm answering your. Okay, تمام. But what about mouse? Huh? Let me show you this. What about mouse? Is it right mouse or left mouse? Huh? High right mouse is shrinks. Left mouse. So what event you are listening? You are listening to set on mouse clicked. E. If get how to ask the mouse? How to ask the mouse about is it left or key right? انتوا عارفين if you are left-handed or right-handed you set the primary and secondary. Is it primary? ما بتقدروش you cannot ask it. You can ask it primary, secondary. This is more general. If get button, mouse button primary, enlarge. You call a function. في عندنا function اسمها enlarge ها في السيركل بانل. اوكي تمام. هلا you call the enlarge or button. You can also do this if it's key up or key down. Are we getting close يا شباب? let me change something now. I will go to this one صاحبنا الأول هذا. اوكي تشيك مي وهالحكي كله. اوكي طيب I want to when the mouse enters here inside I want to make an event. طيب when enters where to enter يا شباب؟ when the key when the mouse enters the panel. يعني راح اقول للبانل look at the panel now. pane dot set on mouse set on sorry mouse ايش بدكم؟ mouse entered شو تعمل طيب؟ E هو راح يكون mouse event صح؟ E whatever here. هلا اذا بدنا مش عارف ايش شفتوا الكود اللي قبل شوي كان عندنا وين الكي؟ here E بدك you need curly braces now if it's more than one statement وهيك شيء. اوكي does that make sense؟ E dot هيك بنعمل اوكي see to be in the safe side. mouse entered sys out مثلا E dot get button لا مش get button نسيت E dot get screen X and screen Y ممكن اسأله or get X where is it moving or هلا mouse entered انا راح اكتب بس تمام. اوكي mouse entered. طيب كل هالحكي عشان هاي طب استنوا شوي بدي اذا الماوس طلع نقول له ماوس طلع pane dot set on mouse exited ايش نقول له؟ E dot sys out اوكي mouse exited ماشي one good. طيب يلا نشوف هلا شو راح يصير. طبعا you can do see mouse entered شفتوه؟ see that طلعت mouse exited mouse entered mouse exited. there are so many events. It's your imagination and I'm teaching you the concept, the skeleton of this thing. You decide what to do. If it's mouse clicked, mouse dragged and all these things تمام ماشي الحال. let us go out مش الماوس dragged وين اللي كانت الماوس mouse event demo. let us can do this now here. طيب why this one moves? what event I'm listening to? I'm listening to mouse dragged. I leave it here. why I leave it here? because before they leave it they ask the mouse what is your coordinate. let us see the code see والله بسيط to see all this code يا شباب. هيو 2 lines. look at it mouse dragged. انا خلصت يا شباب. on mouse dragged وين راحت؟ on mouse dragged. طيب text set X E get X. يعني we are asking the mouse event where is your X and where is your Y. does that make sense? if it's a circle you can move it يا شباب. if it's a circle also you can move it or. for me what's important, did you understand the concept? how you listen to keyboard to mouse, how to use inner classes, anonymous inner classes, and finally how to enjoy your generation. انا ضيعت 15 سنة في الامور هذيك. okay you can do whatever event. it's all about now you know the tools. التولبوكس عندك. you can hurt yourself with the toolbox or you can fix a car. صح ولا لا right? it's up to you how to use the toolbox. your imagination and motivation. صحان انا قلت this is lambda expression arrow اللي هي dash and greater than. ماشي الحال صح. طيب يا شباب hopefully you enjoyed this class. I know if you did.